From Tamil Nadu, sir.
You are from Tamil Nadu. Which part of Tamil Nadu?
Madurai, sir. Madurai.
You are Madurai. I was there in Madurai for a conference. Were you there?
Yes, sir. I'm staying there only, sir.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Dr. Sanjay Gadge, have you met earlier on?
Pardon, sir? Pardon, sir?
Mukherjee, where are you from? Mr. Mukherjee, where are you from? Mr. Mukherjee?
Sir, I am from Bengal, sir.
Oh, you are from Bengal. Hello. Hello. Hello to you. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hello to you. Yeah. And Sanjay Gadge, have you met earlier? Dr. Sanjay Gadge, have we met earlier on? Gadge, I am talking to you. And Priyanka Kakoti, we met in the bank, Sidlinga, Rangappa Gold, and Rani Ratna Prabha. Rani Ratna Prabha, have you met earlier on? Where are you from? Rani Ratna Prabha, where are you from? Unmute your mobile.
Sirsi, sir. Sirsi.
Oh, nice to see you. Nice to see you. And
I've
hello,
seen-
Prabhu. Where are you from, Mr. Alam Prabhu? Allama Prabhu.
Sir, I am from Gulbarga. Sir. I'm a native
Okay,
of
fine.
Gulbarga.
Yeah, perfectly all right. Perfectly all right.
Hello.
And, yeah, perfectly all right. Yes. So, good evening, all of you, dear friends and dear colleagues. In this session, I'm going to discuss with you Northeastern literature, which is, a new phenomenon. You can say only in the recent past, since some 20 to 25 years, India has started discussing the Northeastern literature. Northeastern literature demands a special mention because unlike the Indian writing in English, in which we have discussed literature written from the people spreading from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and from Punjab to Calcutta, all the places. We have discussed the literature written from the people living here in this area, the so-called mainland India. Unfortunately, we haven't heard of a writer from the Northeast, nor have we discussed a Northeastern writer in our classrooms, so far as the English classrooms are concerned. Dr. B. Ajanta Parthasarathi, where are you from?
Hello, sir. I am
Yes.
from Tamil Nadu, actually.
Tamil Nadu. Which part of Tamil Nadu, Parthasarathi?
Virudunar district, sir. It is actually nearest to Madurai.
Madurai. Okay. All the best. All the best.
Thank you.
All the best. Yes, we have not discussed the Northeastern literature, nor do we know any of the writers in the Northeastern world. Northeastern world is cut off from the mainland India. We are not even familiar with the people of the Northeast. They speak different languages. If you look at the number of languages of these 8 states, there are as many languages as there are tribes in this region. So you have quite a good number of languages, and every language has its own identity, has its own culture, has its own history and things like that. And these languages have their own oral past, and they may have orature as well to a very large extent. That's number one. And they are in Indo-Tibetan or Indo-Chinese languages. They are neither, Indo-Aryan or Dravidian languages. They are not even Dravidian languages. So they are cut off from mainland India linguistically. Hindi is known to all of us. Tamil people are spread all over India, and to a very large extent, Tamil is known. It's one of the very important Dravidian languages. Kerala is known, and the literatures written in Punjabi, Hindi, Bengal, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, have been translated into English, and there are a good number of writers in English, writing in English as well as in the regional languages, and the experience, the life, the politics, and the philosophy of the mainland Indians as a shared past, a shared past. A majority of us are the so-called Hindus, or the majority of us are maybe Muslims, or the majority of us maybe, Sikhs and, Christians, Jains, whatever. These are Islam, Christianity, Sikhism, Buddhism, Hinduism have had a tradition of giving and borrowing from each other, and it is quite familiar. But so far as the northeastern religions are concerned, we know nothing, almost nothing. But that is because in our classrooms we did not discuss it. We had heard that there are seven, they are called seven sisters, and they are in the northeast. There are Assamese, there are Mijos, there are Nagas, there are Arunachalis, and that's all. Only we know the names. Neither do we know excepting the major river Brahmaputra. We do not know much about, and excepting a Kaziranga National Park, we do not know much about the northeast. Therefore, yes, madam? Yes? Anybody wants to talk to me? No. Linguistically, they are different from us. And so far as geography is concerned, they are cut off from us. They are hardly, they are less than the state of Karnataka in terms of its size. And in terms of the population, it is less compared to any one of even the minor states of, mainland India. They are, in terms of population also, they are not a very big number, but they are spread over 8 different states. So there are certain common factors, common features that unite and also make them very distinct from the rest of the India. Number one, the small states as the small geographical states as 8 states, and in each state there are 4.55, close to 5 crore people living in this state. You can imagine Karnataka has 7 crore people. It is one state, but here you have 8 states, and the number of people according to 2011 census is close to 5 crore people. You can imagine the demography of this land in terms of its population. And they are called, you have the Purvanchal range, of mountain hills, and it is to the south of Brahmaputra river, and it is spread over something like 94.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Sorry for the interruption. How about the
square kilometers? And the total area of it is spread over 2,62,173 kilometers, something like 2,62,179 kilometers, and total population, as I told you, it is some 5 crore. And for a very long time, the northeastern states were established during the British rule. The entire northeastern region belonged to one state called Assam for a very long time, and after the independence, for a variety of political reasons, social reasons, and economic reasons, now the entire north is divided into 8 states, and each state has quite a good number of state languages, not the national languages, but the state languages. And every state language, a group of people, a majority of them are and the explanation of this that is very well heralded by the secessionist movements that keep on. You have Mysore Liberation Front, you have Naga Liberation Front, you have Assam Liberation Front, Gana Parishad, and there are something like 10 to 15 liberation outfits, liberation fronts that have been fighting for the separate nationhood, separate state, separate administrative regions. It is this, insurgency, secessionist movement, which has, to a very large extent, shaped the life of the people. If there are so many secessionist groups in the Northeast, you can imagine its impact on the people. Its impact on the people. A large number of educated people are not educating their children in their own home state. They are sent to mainland schools and colleges and mainland universities. That is because if you have 3 children, 2 daughters, the secessionist movement outfits one of your daughters to be, sent to the secessionist movement. If you do not send your children to participate in the so-called national liberation movements of so many groups, they will not allow you to live in peace. We have seen secessionist movements in other parts of the country also. In Kashmir, it is still going on. In Punjab, it was there. And there are quite a good number of states in Indian Union which want separate nationhood, but there is no intense secessionist or insurgency movement towards, forming a state or a nation of their own as they are taking place, as they are operating in the Northeast. I need not have to tell you, in Karnataka, the Kodava people wanted a separate state for themselves, and the Lingaites want a separate state for themselves, but they have not taken to arms. There is no armed struggle as such in the mainland India. This makes a lot of difference when it comes to the economy, when it comes to the political stability, social stability, which are very essential for the growth of a nation, or the development of a people, the development of the economic situation of the people. So, the government of India is pumping a lot of money into the development of the Northeast, and the money that the government of India is pumping into the development of the Northeastern states may be ending up in the hands of the insurgents. We never know. If you look at the reality, now as recently as 15 days, we have heard, we have read, we have seen on our national TV screens, there are some people fighting the Mysore, some people, the fight between the people and the fight between states in the Northeast continues to be one of the very important factors that is shaping and affecting the everyday life of these people. And this has led to backwardness. If you look at the number of the roads, good roads made in the Northeast, it is not even 1/4 of the national highways that are there, that is there in the state of Karnataka. We have something like 20 lakh square kilometers of the national highways. Roads are a very important factor so far as the economic development of the people is concerned. If you do not have good roads, then there is no communication. When there is no good communication, there won't be a circulation of people, and people remain in isolation, and this leads to several other political and social problems. We may not appreciate each other. Similarly, this is the political factor, and very true so far as the Northeastern states are concerned, Northeastern people are concerned, and you have a good number of people who still want to retain their cultural identity. If you compare your own state, the political situation, social situation of your own state, you will be able to understand the Northeastern situation much better. Now, look at our, religious situation. Christians, Muslims, today we are living. The markets are the same. The playground backgrounds are the same, but when we go to the north, the situation may be totally different. The majority of them are, majority of the people of the northeastern states belong to different, tribe groups, and their tribal identity is very important for them. And for some reasons, they feel that their tribal identity, their regional identity, their geographical identity is somehow being taken away by the mainland Indians or by the people who are crossing the border, either from Bangladesh or from Tibet or from China or from Burma. These are, which are some of the bordering states of our northeastern states. So the migration of the people to the Indian is also one of the reasons which is adding to the everyday problems of the northeastern people. Unfortunately, when the Tamil Nadu people come over to Karnataka, or Karnataka people go over to Andhra Pradesh or Telangana, we will not fight over the identity issues. But these identities, and sometimes it may add to the economic growth of a particular state. A lot of people from Assam, lot of people from Arunachal Pradesh, Tibet and other parts are coming to Kerala and Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh to work in the service sectors like hotel industry and other things. But the same may not be true, and people may not take it, peacefully and silently as we take it in the other parts of India, in the so-called mainland India. But that situation may be different. In case the economic situation is very bad, migration of people in large numbers from one place to another place may take away the jobs of the people belonging to that land. For example, we have seen in Assam. Assam does not want people who have been residing, who have been taking away the bread and butter, and who have been hijacking the economic situation of Assam by people from other parts of the country or other parts of the world. This is one of the major issues which unfortunately the mainland states do not have to a very large extent. And racial fact. Racially, we may be Dravidians and there may be Aryans and there may be other groups of people. So far as mainland Indians are concerned. And the northeastern people are, their standard height is less than 5.5, whereas for the mainland Indians, it is 5.5, that is the standard height. And racially also they are different. And this, becomes a major problem of identity when the people of the Northeast go from one place to another. So you have, number one, racially different issue, geographically, linguistically, economically, different issue when we discuss, the Northeastern literature. Now, after a very long time, we have come across a writer like, Jahnavi Baruwa. I think our dear colleagues from, Assam, our dear colleagues from West Bengal, our dear colleagues from the Northeastern regions close to Northeast, may be familiar with this writer, may have started reading it, or by now they may have read it. And I am using this text as a very important, very important document that throws light to some extent on the life of the Northeastern, people, Northeastern life, Northeastern times and situation. The title of this, book is Next Door. There are some yes, there are 11 stories, this collection of short stories. So when we go to this short story, when we start exploring the short story, we come across the way the Northeast Delta is exploited by the mainland Indians, that is number one. Poverty is one of the major. Poverty is there in other parts of the country as well. But poverty leading to secessionist movements is unheard of in the other part of the country. Insurgency movements is unheard of in the other parts of the country. Now, I would like to briefly introduce you to the kind of world, poverty-stricken world, the world of illiteracy, the world of economic backwardness, the world of backwardness in other areas. Right. Next door is a short story, and the central character of the story is a girl called Maya, who works as a casual labor here and there. And every day in this house, there has been a fight between, yes, Rani Ratna Papa to everyone, yes, Samuel to everyone, yes, some background noise. Hello? Am I audible to all of you?
With a lot of disturbance, sir.
Lots of disturbance. I'm in Bangalore. Am I audible? Is it clear
Yeah.
to all of you?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Yes?
Yes, you're
You
audible.
are audible, but distractions are there.
Distractions by me?
Sounds, background noise, which is distracting us.
Background noise. It's raining here. I'm sitting in a car at
Yes, sir, we can.
Bangalore. Sorry, you must forgive me. Okay?
Please go on, sir.
I'm sitting in a car and you all, and it's raining outside. The tip-tap sound could be heard probably. I can't help it. Okay. Now we have a character called Maya, who is at the center of this. There is a suggestion that next door means Northeast is next door to all of it. And here, the central character Maya belongs to a very poor family. There is a mother, there is no father, and there is a brother of Maya, and you have Maya's mother. It's a family of 3 members. The narrator says, is the neighbor who lives next door to the Maya's shack, makeshift shack, a temporary house or a tent-like situation. They say, the narrator says, there was no need of a television for us, because the entertainment was freely rendered to them by the people living at the next door. You can understand, the life of the people living in utter poverty may serve as an entertainment for the people who are tolerably better off compared to the so-called people living below the poverty line. Here, they see drama. The brother beating the sister, that too in the middle of the night, and the utensils, kitchen utensils being thrown around, making a hell lot of noise, and the mother shouting at her son, you idiot, stop beating her, stop doing this, stop doing that, and the son abusing his mother could also be heard. And it is for these reasons, the narrator says, there was no need for us to buy a TV, and the entertainment was freely available to us at the next door. That is the next door. What has happened? All of a sudden, the family goes silent. Silent because all of a sudden, they see, noise coming down. Has become pregnant. There is a suggestion in the novel that it is the brother who has impregnated her. There is a suggestion, a mild suggestion. If you read the story, then you will come to know that such a suggestion is very clearly made. And why is this happening? It's a question for all of us, leaders, to answer this. The economic backwardness, the poverty and illiteracy, and the civilization. Civilization is is also a very important thing. When there is poverty, when a region does not grow, civilization also does not grow. That also, grows very slowly. And as a result of all this, now Maya has been impregnated by her own brother. There is the mother in the family who happens to be the head of the family, but her son, the son in the family, has become unruly. He is not listening. There is no respect that he is bound to give to his mother. As a result, this tragedy has taken place. The poverty of this region, civilization of this region is so much that people have been very easily have been sexually exploited, taking the undue advantage of illiteracy, backwardness, and innocence to a very large extent. There is a story by name the sour mangoes. In the sour mangoes, the central character is Madhumita. Madhumita is the central character. And Madhumita is an adult. She is not a young girl, an adolescent any longer. She is an adult. She is a grown girl. And in the next compound next door, again, the mangoes have grown up, and she loves mangoes, and especially girls. The sour taste is very important for them at a particular stage, stage while they are growing up, and therefore, quite naturally, as all of us are fond of eating young mangoes, she's also fond of eating young mangoes with salt and a little pepper and chili. It will be a very tasty and delicious fruit for us. Fruit and young mangoes are also very good to eat, and we have all enjoyed that, and there is nothing wrong in it. And we steal sometimes, and we throw stones at the neighbors, trees sometimes, and we collect mangoes. This has gone on. This is part of and she takes and she goes over to the neighborhood to collect mangoes, and when she is collecting mangoes, trying to pluck some mangoes from the tree, there is a person who is taking undue advantage of her innocence. He is hugging her from behind, and to put it in other words, she has been molested by this neighbor, and this girl does not know how to respond to it. And she is innocent of it. Majority of the people, if they have not gone to school, if they are not exposed to a kind of life, they may remain innocent. And here is an innocent girl who has been whose position has been innocent position has been mistaken or taken undue advantage of by an adult neighbor who happens to be from the mainland India. He has gone there to work in the government establishment or in a private establishment, and while his wife is away, he is married, he has his family. While his wife is away, this man is taking undue advantage of the innocence of Madhumita. This is the story in the mango, in the sour mangoes. This story has also a very important message to tell us. The important message is that when people are in utter poverty, when people are in ignorance, such people will be subjugated to various kinds of violence, subjugated to various kinds of discrimination, insult, and so many other things. And that is what we find. These kinds of stories are also written in other parts of India. But the exploration of the society in other parts of India is totally different. We have feminists who are writing about feminism. We have Marxist writers who are analyzing the Indian society from Marxist and class perspective. But the kind of utter poverty that we see in such graphic details is what is absent and missing in the literature written. We have poverty in Mark we have poverty in the writings of other writers as well. We have poverty in Parama Murugaraj. Are you from Tamil Nadu? Parama Murugaraj.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am from Tamil Nadu, sir. Sir, I am from Tamil Nadu.
Parama Gururaj. Parama Gururaj.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I am from Tamil Nadu, sir.
You are from Tamil Nadu.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah, fine. You see, we have read Murugan's short stories. I have read Murugan's short stories. I keep
Okay,
on comparing the mainland literature with the northeastern literature to bring out the salient factors of the northeastern literature. The kind of abject poverty that has been represented in the northeastern literature, especially in this collection of stories, is not to be very easily found in the literatures written in other parts of the country. That is an indicator. And therefore I want this comparison to be done. And we have to constantly compare the literature of the mainland with the northeastern literature so that we will be able to see the life and times of the northeastern people in very clear light. That is my intention. Poverty is there, and sexual exploitation. Okay, here it has been discussed as an issue dealing with feminism. Their political awareness is also not as developed as that of the mainland Indians. Here they are talking in terms of freedom for women. People will talk about freedom for women when they are economically well off. It presupposes, if a woman is talking about their liberties and freedoms and liberty and opportunities for the intellectual development of a person, then it suggests that a person is economically well off. She is already enjoying certain, political freedoms and certain constitutional freedoms. But poverty and abject poverty and illiteracy and underdevelopment are totally different things which we do not come across in main. We have seen the problem associated with caste, communities oppressing other communities. But northeastern literature, we do not have this. We have poverty, and then we have other things which are not to be very easily seen in the mainland literature. And now northeastern very rich tourist places, and we go to mainland Indians frequent these places for entertainment and for pleasure, and such in such occasions also people are shown as exploiting the people of the natives of this region, the natives of this region. And you have a story, you have a story by title Tiger. You have the tourist mainland Indians going to this area, and here you come across a girl being again unduly treated by a man who happens to be from the mainland. So what is the writer constantly trying to draw our attention to is the illiteracy and the cultural degradation of a region. They are not aware of protecting their own cultural identity, and their situations are not good enough, and therefore their situations have been exploited by people who happen to be from outside in this. Now the question of why the northeastern people are suffering from abject, fear of losing their tribal identity, cultural identity, and religious identity. This is underlined by the fact of the number of insurgency outfits in the Northeast. You do not have, you have something like some 20 insurgency outfits in the Northeast. Every state has 3 to 4, insurgency outfits which are fighting for separate nation, which are fighting for separate statehood, and it has its own effect, economic and political effect on the region. And there are two stories. One is Patriot and another one is the honeybees. The insurgency situation has two sides. Has turned majority are to the position of an anti-national who can be shot at, who can be eliminated at any point of time. And you have special, army powers given to them. And in case they sexually exploit, in case somebody is randomly arrested and is, killed during the legal interrogation, interrogation, we never know. Such things are very common in the Northeast because on suspicion, somebody will be arrested as a terrorist. And if he gets killed during the police interrogation, nothing can be done. Such things are very rampant in the Northeast. And some Sharmila Iroma, who went on a hunger strike for 20 long years. Recently she stopped her thing, and she was protesting against the special powers enjoyed by the security force. She wanted such a law to be amended, but unfortunately she did not win in this battle. She lost this battle. This problem we do not have in other parts of the country. Okay, and we are not living very close to the army and the protection forces, whereas it is very true in the case of the Northeastern people. And secondly, the insurgency movement divides the society into patriots. Means who are the patriots? Those who are well off, those who can get into government services. These people will become the protectors ultimately, and the people who want to spearhead the cultural issues, the identity issues, highlighted, who want to highlight the cultural issues, they become the anti-national and secessionists. There are two stories here. The one is the honeybees. The story is honeybees. You have two characters in the story honeybees. One is Madan Kalita, Anupam Kalita and Madan. These are two friends. They have been friends ever since they are born, ever since they know each other. And now they have the responsibility of their family, and also they have the responsibility of marrying off their sisters. In all the Indian household, the marriage of the female children rests on the shoulders of the elder sons in the family. In case the girl children are not married off in the Hindu family, usually the men also do not get married. Such is the unwritten constitution that has been followed in the Hindu community. This may be there, this may be true in the case of Christianity, this may be true in the case of Islam as well. So seeing off the girl children in the form of marriage is one of the important responsibilities. In case there is an elder son in the family, it will be his responsibility. He has to share this responsibility. And so we have two characters, Madan and Anupam Kalita. not that they are farmers like their parents were, but now they are also educated and they are aspiring for government jobs. And but before they want to get into the government jobs, they have an offer. They have an offer by the insurgent groups, and the offer is coming on a silver platter, in the sense that if they become part of the insurgent movement, they say there is more money in it. There may not be safety in it. There is more money in it. This is a vicious situation. Instead of becoming part of the insurgents movement, they, around that time, recruitment of the police force is taking place. Both of them attend and both of them get employed, fortunately for them. So that takes away a very bad time in their life. If these opportunities had not come to them, they would have become insurgents. That is the suggestion. Now, there are insurgents serving inside the government as well. There are a lot of people who are helping the insurgent outfits by being part of the government establishment. They disclose confidential information to the outfits. So when Madan Kalita and Anupam, both of them become part of the police, get selected to the police. During their training period, they come across this. They come across that there are informers. All the government forces, government administration, government units infiltrated by the sympathizers of the secessionist movement. This is for a variety of political reasons. Now, in such a situation, you do not know the national, you do not know who is, I think, is a real patriot, a person who is a member of a secessionist group, or a person who is for the Indian Police Service. So you take UPSC and you become an IAS officer, and all your brothers who are working in the region, who are working for a political liberation of a particular region, and political working for the political liberation of a region, who is a true patriot? The one who is serving in the government, the other one who is not part of the government but a secessionist, and who are going to be victims of the secessionist movement? The illiterate, half-educated, school dropouts are going to be lured into the secessionist movement. Now we have one such character. Now, as a result of this vicious situation, there is a political unrest, and the entire society is divided into two groups: the sympathizers, the fighters for the national liberation, cultural identity, tribal identity, another set of people, another group of people who are working for government of India, or government of Assam, government of Mysore, government of Arunachal Pradesh. If they try to be true to their own duties and responsibilities, the secessionists become their enemies. So that is a conflict. It's just a conflict. So the entire region seems to be caught in a vicious political conflict, and this this sets a lot of uncertainties in the life. You may be an IPS officer, you may have been provided all the protection, you may have been given 100 security personnel and things like that, but in spite of all that, they are not out of danger, in the sense that in this story, Anidhi's Anupam Kalita, he accompanies an IPS officer, and he has become a close friend of the IPS officer's wife as well. Why? The narrator is introducing not just to the IPS officer, but the narrator is introducing the IPS officer's wife also. You may be an IPS officer's wife, but you never know when you are going to be a widow. When a bomb blast may kill your husband, He is serving in a government establishment. He has been provided with the security forces, but the insurgent activities are taking place in such good number that anything may happen. Therefore, there is a social unrest, social and political uncertainty in the lives of the people. If you are on this side of the line, means you are with the people, then the government forces may eliminate you. And if you are on the government side, then the secessionist groups may eliminate you. So they are at the throat of each other. That sets an important conflict, in a society, and that has also divided the society. That is what we see in the story Patriot. And Anupam Kalita, when he is accompanying an IAS officer, they, by a whisker, escape a bomb blast. Bomb blast aimed at eliminating the district police officer. They, escape that by a fraction of a second. Supposing their car had passed by half a minute or some 5-6 seconds late, then they would have caught in this explosion. All of them would have been killed. So that is the honeybees. Honeybees means honeybees. There is a particular, family of bees which move across the northeast. Okay, you never know where they come, when they are going to nest, when they are going to settle down, and things like that. Honeybees have no restrictions. Honeybees have no boundaries, and for terrorists, there is no fixed boundary as such. They operate with a lot of freedom and immunity in their own world, but their life is also at risk. Similarly, the people who are working in the government establishments, their life is also at risk, and their lives have been determined by a lot of political uncertainty. That is in the story called Honeybees. And you have another important story. Another important story in this collection of stories. It is the title of the story is Patriot. In Patriot, in Honeybees, we do not see the face of an insurgent. It is just an explosion. Okay? But when we come to the next story, we see the face of an insurgent. We do not know anything about the insurgent, their life, their struggles, their problems, their way of life. We haven't had any information about an insurgent. Now, the story Patriot offers us a graphic detail of the so-called insurgents, of whom the nation is afraid of, on whom the nation has set its gun, who are going to be, eliminated by the army, by the police force, the border security force, and so many other forces. And the insurgency, outfits, for example. Now, Patriot, you have Dhiren Mazumdar, who is a retired government employee, and his son is an IAS officer. He is an accomplished man in life. So here, the story again sets a conflict between the haves and the have-nots, the insurgents and the so-called protectors of the nation. Here, Dhiren Mazumdar has built a house next to, after his retirement. He was a government employee. He is a highly accomplished and a successful man in life, because to produce an IAS officer's son is not an ordinary job. He has an IAS officer's son. That speaks for his accomplished life, a successful life. Now, after his retirement, from whatever money he has got as retirement benefit, he has built a house which is next only to where his earlier old house existed. And one fine morning, he finds a lot of activity in his old house. He finds somebody moving inside, and next morning he makes it a point to go visit this place. And when he goes there, he finds a young boy suffering from high temperature, suffering from fever, and also suffering from a bullet shot, suffering from a gun hit. And he is not in his, senses. He is not in his consciousness. He has lost his consciousness. Immediately, he goes to the medical shop. He gets all the medicine. The boy regains his consciousness, and then the boy threatens him with dire consequences. It threatens him with dire consequences, and it puts a condition: in case you bring this to the knowledge of the police people, I will eliminate you. And how old is this boy? This boy is not even an adult. He is in his teens. He is late teens, may not be in his early teens, and he has had a bullet hit on his leg, and he wants treatment for all that. Now, this might remind you of, Great Expectations, the way Pip sees Magwitch in the graveyard. That's what we see, a reversal of that sort. The author is a student of English. The author is a, doctor, but she seems to have a lot of experience of reading the English literature. When you read her stories, you come to know about it. Now, the name of this boy is Manoj. And why has he become a terrorist? That's also, very important. Now, the writer draws our attention to the life of this teenage boy who happens to have become an insurgent, who happens to have become, a terrorist at his teen age. And that is the tragedy of the society. Through the, life of this teenage boy, the narrator wants to bring out the suffering of a society that is divided over the issue of, fighting for a nation, fighting for cultural identity, and protecting a nation and protecting the cultural identity of a people. The society is divided. The IAS officer's son comes to know about this, and he argues with his father. This argument is very important. He asks his father to hand over the boy to him, and the IAS officer considers as his responsibility to eliminate such people from the face of the earth. But Dhiren Majumdar does not want to surrender this boy to his son. Next morning, the boy has disappeared. That's a different thing. But the boy has not, the boy was not surrendered by Dhiren Majumdar to his IAS officer's son, who would have handed him over to the police, and police would have, I don't know, whatever happens during the police interrogation. We have read stories and stories and stories about what happens to people during the police interrogation. Some people get killed in custody, and custodial deaths are very common in India. Custodial deaths are very common in India, and the people dying in the manholes while they are cleaning the sewages in India are as common as the custodial deaths, and the deaths due to rape and deaths due to so many other kinds of things are also very common in India. That speaks about the kind of civilization India has been able to achieve, the kind of life India, is offering to its people, its social awareness, its political awareness, and so many other, factors. Now, the boy is a teenager. Dhiren Majumdar has not surrendered. And next morning, when he goes there, the boy has left behind his, clothes. The boy was in some other clothes. Probably was in his uniform. The laundry wala who has his shop in front of Dhiren Majumdar's house has given Dhiren Majumdar's son's close to that boy so that he can very easily escape. And Dhiren Majumdar as his wife tells Dhiren Majumdar, in case Dhiren had told her that this boy is an insurgent and he was looking after this boy, she says she would have cooked very good food for him, which means Dhiren Majumdar's sympathy is there. Dhiren Majumdar's wife's sympathy is there, and Dhiren Majumdar's, laundry wala, his sympathy is also there. So society is sympathetic and society is fostering the cause. But, the society is divided. Society have been working for, political freedom and so many other factors. This is a reality. And this is, political situation is very intense. And the, the fight between the government and insurgent forces has been very intensely going on in the northeastern region. It is not common in other parts of the region. We do not hear of the armed struggle in any part of the country. To a very large extent, this is confined only to Kashmir. In no other part of mainland India, we have the armed struggle against the state. It was there for some time in Punjab in the name of Khalistan movement, and now it is not there. It has died down. And the Kodawas, a minuscule minority of some 2 lakhs people. The Kurgis, our General Timmaya, General Karyappa, you must have heard of this name. They are Kodawas. And the Kodawa people, for some reasons, they had a state of their own before the independence. And now the states have, all these states, independent states, princely states, have become part of the Indian Union. As a result, they have lost their cultural identity and political identity. And some of these groups which have lost their political identity, they started a struggle, and it did not last long. The Kodawas have given up. There is no insurgency movement in Karnataka at all, and there is no insurgency movement in Tamil Nadu either, or in Telangana. They wanted a separate state. They fought peacefully for it, and today we have Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Similar movements may be there, political movements, not armed struggle. Armed struggle means, division of the society into 2 groups, very groups, one working against the other. It is this, one group working against a tragic situation in the northeastern world. And that's a very important thing. And northeastern people suffer from identity crisis. Northeastern people have been looked down upon. When we see the northeastern people, this is our common experience, since they are racially different from us in terms of size, in the terms of language, in terms of their dress and culture. And because they happen to be from, poverty-stricken family, because they are a minuscule minority when they come to mainland India, because they are not exposed to, because they are not familiar with us, there seems to be some sort of an ill treatment to a very large extent. Okay. There is one such story in this collection. Here is a boy who has come all the way from Assam, and this is a real story. This is a real story. The boy was killed. In Bangalore, he got killed because there was some situation in the fight between localites and the so-called outsiders. The boy has been killed. Had it been a Telugu boy does not get killed so easily on the basis of regional, identity, or a Tamil boy does not get so easily. That is because their presence is felt. Here, unfortunately, he is a minuscule minority, racially different, and so many other things. As a result, the story Awakening draws our attention to the way in which people from the Northeast have been treated in other parts of the so-called mainland India. And since this region happens to be poverty-stricken and people go in search of jobs to other parts of the country, if you come to Bangalore in hotel establishments and in construction, field, you have a lot of people from North Indian poverty-stricken states who are working in Bangalore. You might, and recently, pandemic, the COVID-19 has exposed the situation to a very large extent, and we are all very well aware of the migration, the demographic thing in Bangalore, and a lot of people are working in the hotel area business as holding ordinary jobs in the business establishment. And our Nepalis are security people providing security, freelance security in some states. These people, when they move over to other parts, come to be very easily exploited, and sometimes the exploitations and the violence will be so bad that they may have to pay with their own lives. People go in such and in Karnataka and in South, students doing their medicine, doing their engineering, and they may not be getting the kind of treatment, the extension of a feeling of equality, extension of a feeling of friendship. Yeah, sick boy gets in Karnataka, or a Pandit boy gets in Karnataka, and or a Reddy gets in Karnataka, or somebody else from Karnataka gets in, or Tamil Nadu gets in Karnataka. That is because the North Indian states and the people are known and familiar to each other. Therefore, the question of discriminating a person on the basis of region does not arise so easily, because they are from the established states, and there has been a political, economic, and all other sorts of relationship. And these people, when they go to mainland India, they become a minuscule minority, and because they are racially different, linguistically, culturally different, to a certain extent, they come under the exploitation, they come under discrimination, and the story Awakening, discusses this issue. Now,
Sir, excuse me.
Mainland Indians are exploiting the people in their own places.
Sir, excuse
One
me.
thing, yes, madam.
Sir, we need to give them 10 minutes at least for the
Yes,
interaction. Sir.
Sujata ಅವರೇ ಹೇಳಿ.
Interaction ಗೆ time ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು sir.
Okay. Okay, I'll stop here now. I'll conclude with 5 sentences. Is that okay?
Right. Sir. Great, sir.
I'll
No
conclude
issues.
with insurance is one of the problems. Economic backwardness, illiteracy, and poverty are very prominently represented in this collection of short stories. And we need so much of literature about the northeastern people. This has to be treated as a tip of the iceberg, and literature written in their own respective languages, in the Naga language, Assamese language, may be there in abundance, and we are not familiar with these writers and these languages. As a result, our understanding of the northeastern life and literature and people is very minimal, very minimal. They are in our minds part and parcel of India. They are our brothers and sisters, but unfortunately, our understanding of their life, their times, the political situation is very poor, and this poverty of our knowledge has led to other kinds of problems. Here I would like to stop, and questions are welcome. Yes, we have Bengalis and Assamese here, and I hope there will be a turbulent discussion on the issue. Okay, welcome.
Sir, this
I have
is
stopped.
Sharadashri. Sir, this is Sharadashri. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir. Navan
Madam
Kirubai
Sujata,
Vachan,
am I
where are you
audible?
from? Sharda Sri
Sir,
Chaudhary, yes.
Yes, sir.
Ask me a
Sir,
question. You are from Assam.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So may I?
Yeah, please. Yes, please. I'm waiting for your question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, this is not a question actually.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir, so much for the presentation, for the lecture that you gave on literature from Northeast India. Although
Yeah.
we had the time just to look at one author, Jahnavi Barua.
Yeah.
Actually, sir, there are lots of writers from
Yeah.
Northeast India, but unfortunately, they do not form a part of the syllabuses in schools, colleges, or universities, because of which